The words hung in the air. "We're letting you go, Arman." The sentence echoed, heavy and final, as if the world itself had paused to listen. 7 years erased in a single sentence. All the late nights, the early mornings, the sacrifices, gone in an instant. In the glass-walled conference room, Arman stood frozen, his manager avoiding his gaze, the office watching in silence. The glass felt like a barrier, separating him from the world he once belonged to. Shame burned through him, but he couldn't speak, just nodded, numb. Words failed him, swallowed by the weight of humiliation and disbelief. The silence was suffocating. Colleagues looked away, pretending not to see. Their faces were masks of discomfort, afraid to meet his eyes, afraid to acknowledge his pain. He was handed a cardboard box, 7 years reduced to a few personal items. The box felt heavier than it should, filled with memories and the weight of loss. Walking to his desk, he felt invisible, his team's pity and fear palpable. Every step felt like a farewell, each glance a reminder of what he was leaving behind. No one spoke. No one helped. The silence was louder than any words, echoing through the halls he once called his own. He packed a photo, a mug, a stress ball, memories of a life now gone. Each item a fragment of his identity, now just things to be carried away. Escorted by security, he left the building, the November air biting. The cold stung his face, a harsh reminder that everything had changed. The doors closed behind him, shutting him out of the world he knew. The familiar sounds of the office faded, replaced by the distant hum of the city. He stood on the pavement, clutching the box, feeling erased. The city moved around him, indifferent to his loss, as if he had never existed at all. The man who entered that morning was gone. In his place stood a stranger, uncertain and adrift. He had no idea who he was now. The reflection staring back at him seemed unfamiliar, a reminder of everything he'd lost. What was he going to do next? The question lingered, unanswered, as he sat alone with his memories and the silence. End scene 1. The drive home was a blur. Arman's mind raced with questions and regret. He'd given everything to the company, only to be discarded. Sitting in his driveway, he stared at his house, dreading the conversation ahead. The empty briefcase beside him felt heavier than ever, a symbol of lost identity. Inside, Elena saw his face and knew. She took the box from his hands and embraced him. In her arms, Arman finally broke, sobbing for his lost job, pride, and future. Elena offered no platitudes, just silent strength. In that moment, he wasn't a failure, just a man who was loved. But the question lingered, what happens tomorrow? The uncertainty was overwhelming. End scene 2. Days blurred together. Arman woke early, only to realize he had nowhere to go. The house felt like a cage. Silence pressed in. He sent out resumes, but each rejection cut deeper. He avoided friends, wore his failure like a scarlet letter, and barely recognized himself in the mirror. Nights were the worst. Self-doubt and anxiety kept him awake. Elena tried to reach him, but he felt hollow, lost in a fog of shame. The echoes of his past mocked him from every empty room. End scene 3. Weeks passed. Rejection became routine. Then an unexpected email arrived from Maya, a junior designer at his old company. She wrote, "I admired how you brought everyone's ideas to life. Remember the charity project? You made it happen." Her words were a flicker of hope. Someone remembered his value. He reread her message, recalling the fulfillment he'd felt leading that project for a local animal shelter. For the first time in months, he felt a spark. What if he could do that again? Help small organizations, not corporations. The idea was terrifying, but it was hope. That night he couldn't sleep, not from anxiety, but from possibility. End scene 4. Arman started small, reaching out with a simple email to the animal shelter he once helped. It was a quiet evening, and the glow of his laptop felt both familiar and new, as if he was opening a door to a different future. Sarah, the director, replied almost instantly, her gratitude shining through every word. She remembered Arman's dedication and welcomed his offer with open arms. Eager to help, he volunteered to streamline their donation process and take charge of social media for an upcoming adoption event, determined to make a real difference. The learning curve was steep. Suddenly, he was the entire team, juggling tasks he'd never faced before, feeling both excitement and anxiety. Mistakes happened, sometimes daily, but each one became a lesson, not a failure. He learned to adapt, to grow, and to keep moving forward. The event was a resounding success. Donations increased, and the shelter's story reached more people than ever before. Word spread quickly. Soon, a bakery, a tutoring center, and even a local artist reached out, hoping Arman could help them too. He accepted every project, pouring his heart and energy into each one, determined to give his best and prove himself. He converted a spare room into a makeshift office, filling it with plans, sticky notes, and big ideas for the future. Elena watched him work late into the night, pride and encouragement shining in her eyes, always ready with a supportive word. He named his consultancy Second Story, a nod to his new chapter, a symbol of hope and fresh beginnings. It wasn't a corporation, but it was meaningful. Every day, he felt the purpose behind his work growing stronger. He was building something real, from scratch, with his own hands and vision, step by step. For the first time, Arman was truly creating, not just surviving. Each day, a brushstroke on the canvas of his new life. End scene 5. A year later, Second Story had a reputation for empathy and results. Arman had clients, testimonials, and even a part-time assistant. He was busy and fulfilled. Then, an email arrived from his old company. They wanted him to consult on a major social responsibility project. Walking back into the building, he felt transformed. He was no longer the man carrying a box. He was a business owner, an expert. Old colleagues stared. He simply nodded. In the same conference room, he faced his former manager, Mr. Davies, and a VP. This time, Arman was in control. He presented his vision with confidence, drawing on his journey. He was no longer unseen. He was the one they needed. They hadn't just fired an employee, they'd unleashed an entrepreneur. End scene 6. The meeting changed everything. In that room, the air was thick with tension and uncertainty, as if everyone sensed that something significant was about to unfold. Arman negotiated a lucrative contract, on his terms. For the first time, he felt the power of standing up for his own vision and the satisfaction of seeing others recognize his value. Mr. Davies stopped him in the hallway, admitting, "I was wrong." The words were unexpected, carrying the weight of humility and respect. Arman accepted the apology, but didn't need it. He had already moved forward, his confidence unshaken by past doubts. He used the contract to expand Second Story, helping more small organizations than ever before. His leadership inspired his team to dream bigger and reach further. His company became a beacon of hope, proof that good work and good business could coexist. People began to look to Second Story as an example of what was possible. The day he was fired became a turning point, not an ending. What once felt like a loss was now the spark that ignited his true calling. He'd lost a job, but found his purpose and resilience. Each setback became a lesson, each challenge a stepping stone towards something greater. Sometimes, the universe breaks your heart to open it. In those moments of pain, new possibilities are born, and hope finds its way in. Arman's story is a reminder. Our worth isn't in titles, but in our ability to rise, learn, and build anew. True success is measured by our courage to begin again. What feels like the end is often the beginning. Every closed door leads to another waiting to be opened, filled with new opportunities. Failure is not falling down, but refusing to get up. The real victory is in rising, time and time again.
What's something people don't know about stories? They never truly end. There's always a new adventure waiting for you. Just pick your next tale and I'll meet you there. Subscribe to the Story Circle and let me know which story I should tell next in the comments.